So David Ross gets fired by the Cubs yesterday. They announced it yesterday, and the news is out and all this stuff. The Cubs fans, hallelujah. Craig Counsell's coming. On his Instagram account, Wilson Contreras had a 2-word reaction to the firing of David Ross.
Ooh.
2 words, and I quote, "About time."
Wow.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Oh.
Who the heck do you think was bad-mouthing Contreras' catching skills to the point where, there was very limited interest in him as a free agent? And there was even limited interest in him at the trade deadline in 2022, although the Astros thought they had a deal for him. And I forget, I'm trying to remember who vetoed it. It might have been the owner of the Astros. But Contreras knows what's up, and Contreras knows Ross, and they were teammates in 2016. And, I wasn't there. Even if I was there, I wouldn't be privy to exactly what the tension is. But there's no question that David Ross had something to do with this kind of sullying Contreras' reputation. And you know what? That could be nothing sinister. It could be just a matter of David Ross. Somebody wants to know what he thinks, and he's going to give you an honest, straight-up baseball opinion. I'm talking about baseball person to baseball person, but still, about time. Whoa, okay. See, and that's why Contreras makes Mo nervous, probably makes Marmol nervous, He's an independent mind. I mean, he's a team-first guy. He'll run through walls, metaphorically speaking, but he will. He'll do anything to win a game. He's got edge. He's got kind of a hard shell. He's very, very serious about what he does. And he can make people uncomfortable. But as I've said, I got no problem with that. The Cardinals need more guys to make each other uncomfortable in a way that's going to stimulate better performance or more conscientious performance, right? So I got no problem with that. Too many nice guys, too many self-absorbed guys, too many guys trying to play a role. It's like, well, Wainwright's leaving, so I got to be the leader. I got to be the character now, I got to be that guy in the media, Miles Michaelis and all this stuff. People just worry about the wrong things. Give me about 3 or 4 more players that are going to make the rest of the squad uncomfortable. If the performance isn't good, the effort isn't what it should be. On Contreras' side, he's got to do whatever it is the Cardinals want him to do. He's got to work harder on it. He's already worked hard, but there's a entirely different definition of working hard, maybe the way the Cardinals feel in terms of catching, because they were spoiled by Yadier Molina. I don't know that standard's fair to apply to anyone else, but if they feel that he could work harder or there's some things he can do to make himself better, I think he owes it to himself owes it to himself really, and to them to do that. So we'll see how it turns out. But I think it's pretty funny the way he kind of dissed David Ross. He did remove that, by the way, deleted it.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because he's probably catching all kinds of stuff because he realized, listen, he knew he was stirring it up. But when he stirred it up, he probably thought, I probably shouldn't have done that. And so he deleted it.
He got it out, though.
Yeah. He's Joe Sheehan was talking about it, and I agree. They're going to have to make a run at a free agent pitcher. I would just prefer them to go as hard as they can. And it is a naive thought, and I realize that. So you don't have to laugh at me because I'm laughing at myself. But they need to throw away any hesitation, reservation whatsoever. And they have to do whatever it takes to get Yamamoto signed. He's a world-class pitcher. He's an outstanding pitcher. He's only 25 years old. But they're going to have to go, like, when you go to Las Vegas, they have different poker rooms. They have different blackjack rooms. You're going to have to go into those rooms reserved for the whales, the biggest players, the biggest gamblers, with a huge buy-in. You're gonna have to walk past the cheaper tables, and you're gonna have to go into those reserved rooms where the only people you can sit down are the people that are going to put up a lot of money, high stakes gambling. That doesn't sound like Mo. It doesn't sound like DeWitt. But the point is, if the question is, all right, who's the best free agent pitcher on the market? The answer is Yamamoto, and it ain't even close. Okay, it isn't even close. So why don't you do something you've never done before, where you just say, look, you tell his agent, I don't care what it is, you name the price, we'll be there. Whatever it is, we'll offer more than anybody else. We'll do whatever it takes. Are they going to do that? Like I said, laugh at me, but you don't have to, because I know they're not going to do that. But if you're asking me what I would love to see them do, they got the money to do that. They're not hurting financially. They have got a considerable war chest. As Theo Epstein said, as the Cubs general manager way back when, he said the Cardinals can do whatever they want to do. They have the money. He didn't say they have the money, but he was talking about them in terms of their financial might. He said they can do whatever it is they want to do. There are no limitations. They can go do it. Okay. The time has come for that. So you're not gambling a lot of money on Aaron Nola, whose stuff started to back up this past season. And with the number of innings he throws, you got to wonder how long before he breaks down or goes in decline. Blake Snell, walk. He doesn't throw you a lot of innings. He may win the Cy Young Award. Does that mean he's really the best pitcher? He'll give you a really low ERA. What he won't give you is a lot of innings, and what he will give you, unfortunately, is a lot of walks. I mean, a lot of walks. How much you want to pay for that? And then Sonny Gray's 34 years old. Joe Sheehan raised a good point that I agree with, but I forgot about. You know, his pitching changed for the better when he went to Minnesota and they put him on their pitching program. What that is exactly, I don't know. I know they got him to kind of reorder some of the pitches he was throwing. And they made him a much better pitcher. See, there was a time when the Cardinals could do that. Now they make guys worse. So you get Sonny, as Joe Sheehan warned us a little while ago, if you take Sonny Gray out of that Minnesota pitching program that's made a world difference for him, and you put him somewhere else where they're not nearly as advanced or sophisticated in being able to help pitchers, then he's just a 34-year-old guy that might be headed the other way soon in terms of performance. All three of these guys carry big risk, and as Joe said, you got to kind of maybe grit your teeth and bet on one of them, and they probably will have to do that. They'll probably have to choose among them and then go all out and go crazy and, whatever it takes type thing. But even then, man, it's such a thin starting pitching market of like really top level guys. And in some years, these three we're talking about, I'm not talking about Yamamoto, I'm talking about Snell, I'm talking about Nola, and I'm talking about Gray. These guys wouldn't be anywhere near like the first tier. They'd be second tier. But in this free agent market class, they are definitely first tier. So rather than gamble your money on that, why don't you gamble on a lot more money on a 25-year-old pitcher that's got all the talent in the world? And there's nothing flukish about him. It's it's in Japan. I mean, so no, he is. You're gonna have any team that matters, and any team that's got the financial wherewithal. They're all going to be walking into that big blackjack room. Those big tables that are reserved for big-time players only. That's where you're going to find the people that want Yamamoto. That's where you're not going to find, I fear, the Cardinals. But instead, they'll risk $150 million for somebody who might break down because they're at that age where pitchers start to break down. You know what I'm saying? This thing is. Listen, I know John Mozeliak and Bill DeWitt. I know that they're responsible for the mess that they've created. I know that. I wouldn't really want to be Mo right now. This is a bad time to be looking to fix your entire damn rotation, basically. It's a really bad time if you want to get a couple of the best. And then to get someone that will really excite you, cost-controlled, younger, healthy, upside, talented. You know, who's a guy that has Cardinals fans trembling with excitement at that Logan Gilbert in Seattle?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ain't going to get him for Dylan Carson, folks.
No.
You're going to have to give up Nootbaar or Donovan or Edman or Gorman and then maybe something else. There is no way. At teams, this is a year where position player talent on the free agent list is really thin. And people, I've seen some of the analysts I like, you know, they're actually making fun of it. You know, talking about, okay, well, you can go get Joey, you know, Wendell. He's available as a free agent. Want to get him? You know, all these scrubs.
Yep.
Right? And teams also they're looking for cost-controlled players. And they're looking, if we're talking about offense, everybody's looking for left-handed bats. Good left-handed bats. Well, as it turns out, the Cardinals have 4 of those, maybe even 5, because I know Cardinals fans think that Alec Burleson is like one of the 5 worst hitters in the history of the game or whatever. Alec Burleson will be a hell of a major league hitter because everything's there that tells you that. It's just a matter of a couple different factors, and he'll improve through the more time that he gets. His ball-to-bat skills are ridiculously good, and he does hit the ball hard. And he's got some things to work on, but he'll be a really good major league hitter. And I know in our town, I know how it is. You know, if a guy's not Stan Musial right away, he's a bust. He's a bum. Get him out of here. I know that. But with a little patience, he'll be a hell of a major league hitter. And let me ask you a question. If he's so bad, if he has no big upside, then why do the Cardinals get so many calls on him? They got a lot of calls on him at the trade deadline last summer. They think they're going to get him cheap. They think they can be the next Predator to steal an outfielder from the Cardinals who's going to become a hell of a player for them, right? But I know the small sample people, you know, in our town, you know, it's like, oh, he ain't nothing. Well, why are all these GMs calling the Cardinals wanting them? Huh. I guess they're all stupid, right? Just like the Rangers were stupid, just like the Tampa Bay Rays were stupid, right? So anyway, you're going to have to give up Nootbaar. You're going to have to give up, you know, in no particular order. Well, maybe I do. Gorman, Donovan, Nootbaar, Edman. And you know what's amazing to me? You still hear people talking about, and there's a piece in the Post-Dispatch about it. I'm not knocking the writer, Lynn Worthy. He's really good. And it was a natural topic to explore, and he did a good job with it. But talking about Tommy Edman, about what he could become if they just put him in center field and how good he is and how people are so impressed by him. And that's fine. But what if Tommy Edman is in demand by other teams this year that want a switch hitter who can play all these positions, above average defense, and has the speed that he has? And they're maybe willing to overpay for him. And I don't know that that'll be the case, but suppose maybe that is a realistic possibility. So why would anybody say, nah, you really can't? Boy, you can't do that. Tommy can play center. He's the best defensive center fielder you have. He's fast. Yada 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 yada. I like Tommy Edman. Is he expendable? Yeah. And you know why he's expendable? Because of Victor Scott II, okay? He was the star of the Arizona Fall League game, the All-Star game, which they call the Fall Star game. I like that. First of all, he had 94 steals this season in the minors. He's third at last count in the Arizona Fall League with 16 steals in 22 games. He ran wild in the All-Star game. He reached base 3 times in 3 trips on a double and a pair of walks, and he stole 3 bases off 3 different pitchers, including a steal of third base twice. I was reading a report on him. They were talking about he would already be one of the best center fielders in Major League Baseball defensively. And as Keith Law pointed out, he said, boy, I underestimated him. He's starting to develop power. He has got top-end speed. He is already considered to be like an instant above-average center fielder defensively. He's cost-controlled for 6+ years, and he's starting to develop power. And he's got really good contact skills. He draws walks. He does not swing and miss at a lot of stuff and rack up strikeouts. Oh. But we can't trade Tommy Edman. We need him to play center field. He Willie Mays out there. We can't give him up. Sometimes, Jim Hewer, I just kind of want to walk away from all this.
I get it.
Because you can't. The stupidity is like so frustrating that you're like, I don't know what to say after a while.
It's interesting you bring up Tommy's name because middle of the night I woke up and I started wandering my mind and this baseball thing started going through my head. And Tommy Edman's name was right there in front of me. And I'll be honest with you, I don't see how they can not afford to trade him.
If there's interest, you don't give him away.
Right. Not give him away. I'm talking
because he can play a bunch of different positions, and he definitely has value. There's no question about it. But if it's you got a chance to add a good, solid major league starting pitcher.
That's the key.
But they want Tommy Edman. Well, okay, thank you, Tommy. We love you, but to get something, you got to give up something.
Absolutely, and that's where I'm going with that thought is. When I look at it all and I go, well, if they ask for Tommy Edman and you can get whatever that young starter is that you want to throw into your rotation and be a really top of the end rotation kind of guy for you, you have to make that deal because you still have, and I'm just saying Edman and something. And I don't know what that something is, but I'm telling you, if it's Edman, it's not Nolan Gorman and it's probably not Donovan. So those 2 guys stay. Well, if those 2 guys are staying, Edman's got to go because you're going to need somewhere else for somebody else to play, and and that's you deal from a position of strength in making that move. If it were Burleson and Edman and you got whoever that guy is, I go you got to make that move. You have to be aggressive and get after it. And I like both of those players I just spoke of, and I really like Burleson for the same reason you spoke of. He's going to improve and be a good hitter, but you are desperate now to get a starting pitcher, and you're going to get a good one if you make a move like that. You have to be able to make that move. You just can't sit there and go, well, they wanted this guy and that guy.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
We need everybody. You need arms desperately.
Just like that famous instance, at least to me, where the Cardinals were desperate for starting pitching in one of these years, and I can't remember. It's obviously a way back. And Tyler O'Neill became a Cardinal in 2018, so it was after 2018, but I don't know which winter or which trade deadline it was, but they were desperate for starting pitching. And Zach Wheeler was about to he was in his walk year and pitching for the Mets, and he had found it and was really, really good. And the Mets said, well, you got to give us Tyler O'Neill. And Mo walked around telling the writers, like, I'm not going to give up Tyler O'Neill for Zach Wheeler. Well, why not?
Oh, man. Right.
I mean, but they don't want to give up. Oh, we can't give up this guy. We can't give up that guy. Oh no, there's if we had a no trade list, he would be on it, and he would be on it. And he would be on it. Okay.
Where'd that get you?
Maybe you can get that number 2 or number 3 starter for what? Andrew Kisner, maybe, or what? Is that what you think?
Right.
And Ivan Herrera's got to be on the trade block if you're going to commit to Wilson Contreras, and that's another reason to hire Yadier Molina, because Yadier Molina would be the best thing that ever happened to Wilson Contreras. Yadi as a coach. Mm-hmm. And Yachty believes in him, too. And Yachty doesn't like the way he's been treated. So Yachty would really thrive. He'd really dive into that role, helping Wilson be the best that Wilson can be. if you're going to commit to him as your catcher, I'm sorry, Herrera's a luxury and could probably fetch you something pretty exciting as part of a trade package anyway.
Yeah, I think so. But he's at the point now, Bernie, where I think he's got to play here. That's his next move. And if he's not going to play, I should say he's going to play Major League Baseball. If he's not going to be on this roster, he's got to play somewhere. He's too valuable just to sit there for another year at AAA right now where he's at.
I'm in a radical kind of mood. I mentioned this on the show. I want to mention again. People didn't hear the first time last week or whatever it was. And I'm not trying to be – I don't do hot takes. I say what I think and I believe. And if it has to be considered kind of like, well, that's kind of a hot – it's not a hot take in the way that people in our business, but especially, in social media, they're, okay, what can I say to get attention? First of all, I don't need any damn attention, okay? I've had plenty, and I still have plenty. I'm fine. I'm good. Well, what can I do to make a name for? I don't need to do that. I'm a guy that people know they know by my first name. Did you hear what Bernie said? Did you hear what Bernie wrote? First name. Hadley pointed that out a long time ago. He said, dude, you're a success. I said, well, why is that? He said, because you're known by your first name. How many people are known by their first name? I said, okay, if you say so, big man.
It's true.
But anyway, no, and I'm just having fun with that. So in other words, when I say something that would be considered, what's the word? Controversial. I'm not trying to be controversial. I don't need to be controversial. I say what I honestly think, and if you believe it's controversial, well, you're the one putting a label on it, but you're attaching something that I never even think of, because when I talk or when I write, it never occurs to me to think, oh, what can I say or type right now that's going to get me a big reaction on Twitter? The answer, nothing. Because that's not the reason why I do what I do. Anyway, I would put the word out that Nolan Arenado is available, and I would certainly see the level of interest in Goldie going into his walk year. Am I saying, oh, you got to trade those? No, I'm not saying that. There is nuance here, okay? I'm saying you owe it to yourself. You are in a horrible predicament of your own making by ignoring your pitching issues for years and years and years and years. And now the chickens have come home to roost, and there's no easy way out of it. And it's kind of a really bleak situation unless you're willing to play let's make a deal, we'll pay Yamamoto whatever it takes. Apart from that mindset, good luck with this. So you have to consider drastic things or radical things. And you at least have to kind of take the temperature if there is any interest. And then you find out, well, how much interest? What kind of interest? What are we talking about in terms of a trade rate? Who would come back this way? What will they give up? You need to have stealth discussions. You need to keep it under wrap, and you got to kind of check the water, check the temperature, and just see what might come back at you in preliminary talks. That's all that I am saying. I don't think that's controversial. I don't think that that's a hot take. This team is in a really, really precarious position right now. And you have two guys that are still good. One of them's got a bad back. One of them, I don't think, is particularly pleased with the direction of the Cardinals right now. That would be the third baseman, who just had his worst season offensively since his rookie year in 2016, was it? Something like that. And Goldie's contract's up at the end of the year, and he's going to be 36 next year, so this coming season. So you owe it to yourself to just see if there's interest. I don't think that that's a radical idea.
Should explore every option possible because they have a roster that they can shuffle and move around. So if you were to move one of those guys, you should have enough pieces to fill in other spots and get something of value in return. Absolutely. You got to explore it. You got nothing to lose, right?
You just got to check the temperature. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Instead of taking an attitude, if they are, of like, no, they're hands off. No trade. No, we're not. No, I'm not gonna. We're not gonna go talk to Nolan about this. We don't want. He's a big part of what and he would be. They both would be a big part of next year. But if you go get, say, a Sonny Gray and some other guy, right, and you get a good reliever, okay, what? You're a 95 win team now? Really?
Nope.
So anyway.